Hi, this is again Volleyball Explained at the podcast First Tempo. This time, I'm very honored to have as my guest today Gabriele Antola, the assistant coach,
Hi,
one of the assistant coaches of the Bulgarian national team women. Hi, Gabriele. First of all, how are you?
hi, thank you. It's fine.
Yeah,
Hi, everybody.
let's start with. Can you tell us a little bit about your volleyball background? How did you start with volleyball, and how did you start, of course, with coaching?
I was a player, so I began to play around 14 years old. I was in a young team of uh, one of the best team in Italy for the men. After when I finish, I try to play. In Italy, we have different leagues. I play in B1, that now is A3. This is my maximum level where I played. And after not so good injured, I stopped to play. I broke both tendons. After this, I stopped for 1 year, and after I began to play beach volleyball, mm, uh, like this. And I'm a coach from around 6 years. I begin like a scoutman, um, one of the best scoutmen in Italy. Teach me everything, Simone Maurilli, and I begin with him, and immediately I begin in A2 collaboration with Roma Volley. And at the same time, I begin with Volley Raw. It's a club for young volleyball player, women, one of the best club in Italy. They won a lot of championship for everything, every ages. I was there for 3 years. And after I moved to Piacenza with the men, and now I'm in Novara with the woman, like assistant coach. Arrived in Bulgaria 2 years ago. This is 3 years that I'm here. Before I was in the national team with the young, with the Italian national team. This is shortly my experience in volleyball. So I'm
Yeah,
a good statistician, and also I'm a coach. I'm a coach
yeah,
now, but I begin like a statistician because it's the best way to arrive at that high level immediately. So that was the plan, and I begin like this.
yeah. I like also to, let's say, to work with the numbers in volleyball since 2011. Of course, is a hobby, but that's why most of the questions I prepared for you are linked exactly to the statistician role. But you mentioned you started with Bulgaria 2-3 years ago. You were part of the staff of Lorenzo Micelli. So
Yes.
how did you decide to stay here also in the staff of Antonina Zetova? And did Lorenzo, who was actually also a guest in the podcast some time ago, tried to convince you to go with him in Sweden?
Yes, I'm in a good relationship with the Lorenzo Micelli. Is a friend, is a good friend also. But when I have to decide, when arrived the proposal from the Bulgarian Federation was around Christmas, and there is there isn't possibility for Lorenzo to know something about his future. So when arrived this proposal, also for me, Bulgaria is a second home. I have a lot of friends here. I have no problem here. Everything is good for me, so I accepted immediately.
Yeah. Let's talk about your work in the team, because your role is defined as an assistant coach now, of course, not a statistician. But what are your responsibilities in the team before a match and during a match? Also in the training process, probably. Let's define.
Yes.
Yeah.
But maybe they asked me to stay here with Toni because I have the experience, no? 2 years with Lorenzo Micelli here with the same national team. 1L, it's not easy, no? To prepare everything, how to prepare also the training session, because it's a strange competition, really stressful. So first of all, I have to help Toni to organize everything, explain how it's work. First time for her or for the other part of the staff. So also I have to help also the scout man, everything what we have to organize. And I just to say what I think about what is my volleyball, what is my experience from the national team and from the club, and I try to explain this to Toni, and we try to find a common way, no, to work. So I explain my idea and I try to say this. Usually I study the opponent and I prepare all the paper that after we show to the girls, and I explain everything to Toni before the video with the girls. We talk about it and we find the way how to communicate everything more easy possible to the girls, because we have no time to prepare the match. No, during normal season you have 3 days. If you play one time per week or so much, you have more video session to prepare everything. Usually in 1L, okay, for the first match you have time, but after it's possible that you play in the evening, and after the match after is in the morning, so it's impossible, no? This is what we try to do. For the practice, the same. Toni has her idea, and I try to say what is better for me, for my experience, and I try to help in this way.
One more specific question: how much is the paperwork ready for example? Let's say you played against Italy. How much data and how much pages or whatever do you gather for a match like this?
Before that I arrive here, I spoke with Toni 3-4 times. She came also in Novara during my season, and we talk a little bit about how to organize everything, and I show her some solution for the paper, also because I work with men and now I'm with the women, so something is different, and I explain what's the meaning about all this kind of paper that you can use, and I say that for me it was better to use something similar that I use in Novara during the season. And what we use in Novara, it's similar of what they use in Italian national team. It's not so long. We have around 4 pages for the players, because we have 1 page for the middles, 2 pages for the outside hitter, 1 page for the opposite, usually. And after we have 1 or 2 pages for the setter, because we divide 2 spikers and 3 spikers, and usually I try to find some way more easy as possible. So, for example, if rotation 1 and rotation 6 are similar, I don't divide rotation 6 and rotation 5. I try the connection between these, and I put rotation 5, rotation 6 is like this, and we decide to move like this in block and defense, or we choose this to do this. This is what I try to do, try to make more easy as possible. More less information you give is better.
Yeah,
Clear,
that's actually linked to my next
clear
question.
Information and easy way.
Yeah, about perceiving information, because in order to be more effective, you need to to compress the information in order to know what to do on the court. Years ago, I listened from Radostin Stoichev and his assistant coaches in the national team of men, of course, that, for example, to the middle blockers, they give information also when they are out of the court, between first and second line, of course, between serving and being back on first row, in order for the information to be fresh in their heads. How do you work along these lines? Because, for example, for the setters and opposites, they don't need to know that much about how the outside hitter is hitting, or the other way around in the other end of the net.
No, we give all the information together. All the team make the same, but obviously, if there is something specific that is more important before the match, for example, during the warm up, I go to some players. I remind something that is important for me, for my vision. It's important to make it more easy possible. It's important what you see in front of you. What's up in front of you? For example, if the setter move because the reception is close to zone 2, for example, or if arrive middle because they play tempo back, for example. No, this is a situation for the outside hitter. What you have to see this. What's up? There is nothing in front of you. Okay, doesn't matter. You do like this. If there is something in front of you, okay, you have to do this. This is more easy, and I think is the best way for what I think. Also because I have experience, I talk a lot with players, and I have a lot of friends that were and are also already a professional volleyball player. And I ask every time, what do you understand during the video in your club, during video session? What you remember about you listen during the video? And my smarter friends remember usually 2-3 information, no more. So it's important for me to understand what the main information, the 2-3 information for the player. It's important that they remember this. After doing the match, if there is something more to say, maybe when we have time out, video check, these kind of things, we remember something or we say something new immediately. But sometimes it depends also from the player, because some player need to be free, some player need more information, some player is better to have less information if possible, because after going confusion. So it depends of the situation. You have to adapt to the players.
And what are the main steps in the preparation? For example, there are coaches that start analyzing the opponent's setter. There are another coaches that start from another point of another aspect of the game, like serving or I don't know. It's different. From where do you start from?
I don't know. During VNL, you have to be faster as possible. So I begin with the spikers and show direction of the spikers, these kind of things, and immediately I write the direction. I try also to make it easy, and immediately I send to the scoutman that begin to write this information. After this, I try to check the side out, so setter distribution, and I try to fix because I write everything. Because I need after to during the match, or about all the rotations. But like I told you before, after I try to make something more easy that we wrote that we write in the paper. After this, we check service and how the other middle moves, so the block and defense of the opponent. And usually we check a little bit the transition, but usually transition most of the time is standard. And there are few balls that you have really to analyze really well, because most of the balls goes in 4 during the transition. So we check, but this is the last thing that we analyze. For sure, most important thing is the setter distribution.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you worked it in Piacenza in the men's section.
Yes.
What is the difference in this process of the preparation and gathering data when it comes to men and women, and what does it depend probably on the speed of the game, of course, or just that men are, of course, much more physical?
Yes, this is different. Is different. The preparation is similar. We have to say that it's similar. We use more information. Superlega is really a lot of numbers that we study. But the process of the studies is similar. I have to say that maybe more things are standard, because usually with the men it's difficult that you block line, for example. It's really complicated that you block line, because if you block line all the match, they destroy you in diagonal all the match. So it's impossible to block like this. So something is standard. We change some position in defense. I was with Anastasi. Anastasi used 3 kind of defense with some variation, but usually the variation is about the position 6, and 2 or 3 kind of block. But usually, okay, you see if some player lose angles in high ball or after pass is something like this. With the woman, you can decide more, you can change more, but also depend of the level, because more the opponent are stronger, more you have to change something also during the match. For example, in Novara, a lot of time we alternate block. We don't write, for example, block diagonal. It's not all the time like this, because when you play against Gabi, for example, in Conegliano, we alternate line, diagonal. It depends of the situation. It's not something like this wrote in the stone.
Is it depending on from where the set is coming? For example, of course, the best of the best, they have tendencies, but they are not that visible like the other players that are not world class. But for example, when the set is when not the set but the reception is perfect, then she has the tendencies to attack more line. When the set is coming from a little bit more from behind, then line is much less than in the other situation when the reception is perfect. Is it along these lines?
Sometimes yes. It depends also from the time of the season. No, it's not every time the same, because, for example, during the season we prepared something for the regular season that after during the playoff we changed a little bit, because players maybe are in a different shape during this situation, and when you are in a different shape you have maybe different feeling. So sometimes can change this, but yes, it's possible that change, like you are saying.
Yeah, we had this in our conversation a little bit, differences between this process, the tactical preparation between club and national teams. Is it only about time that, for example, club teams play 2 times in the week, or with some exceptions, and the national team you can play 16, 17 hours between, like you played firstly with Dominican Republic and that with Serbia and Netherlands,
Yes.
for example. Is it only about time, or it's the whole process that club teams train much more time together?
But also during a normal season, yes, you can also adapt some practice about the opponent. You can put your focus in something that more maybe you think that is more important to do better than the opponent. During the week in VNL, it's more complicated to do that. We try when we have some morning. For example, if you play against some teams that play a different volleyball that usually you can meet. For example, if you play against Thailand, they play a lot of combination, 7 and over, 7 and between, like this, no? And so we try a little bit to, but it's not a real practice. It's just that the player can have the feeling what can happen after in the match, no? Just to have this feeling, and so you can try this if you have a morning. If you have not, you prepare in the time that you have, and you go in the court and play. So it's different. Yes, you have more time during the season. Normal season is different. You can study what you want. Also during the season it's not so easy, because when you play every 3 days, it's not so easy to prepare everything well and also have this kind of practice. But for sure, 1L is really complicated, because every day you play every day. So
yeah, and even though in Canada you had the sleepover, in Bulgaria it was like in the same day. So it was very strange, and not only for us, actually, not for other teams as well. You mentioned Gabi. That's my penultimate question, is about scouting the best teams in the world and how do you counteract them? Because, for example, when you have EGONU or Bošković or Haak going over the block, it's much more difficult to prepare. And where is the distinction there when you have to prepare against that kinds of players?
This depends. Depends, because you can prepare thinking that if they are this kind of player are in a really amazing shape, sometimes it's better to don't think too much about these players. It's better to cover all the part of the team, no? So sometimes you can decide, okay, our system is standard and we prepare everything for the other. Sometimes you can prepare something. For example, we played in Poland against Sweden, and hack is true that spike over the block most of the time, but it's also true that she spike in some specific zone of the court. It's almost clear. The problem is also that arrive really strong. So, so you can prepare. We prepared, for example, against her. We stay sometimes in the correct position, but it's not easy. Also because 1 meter there, 1 meter there, you stay in the correct position, but if Farah is so strong that it's impossible to defend. So depends of the situation. 2 years ago, we played against Italy, and we decided with Lorenzo to don't care about EGONU because was in a perfect shape. Was impossible to play against her thinking to block or defend, to have a good defense. So we try to fix all the other part of the court.
Yeah, that's actually my next idea. These tactics about she can't win against us alone. If we stop all the other players, we at least have the possibility to win. Could we say it in this way?
Depends of the situation always, but usually I can remember some match that sometimes this kind of player they win alone. So depends, no? Depends of the situation, and also sometimes it's not easy, no, to cover the other part of the court, because if you play again against Conegliano in position 4, Sgabi and Su, opposite tack, Far, Kirika, you have to play, you have to be a similar level team. So you play, okay, 0-0 or similar. If not, if there is a lot of difference between the player, you can try what you want, but usually volleyball is not soccer, no? That the ball can go in the net and you win for one lucky strike, no?
Okay, let's go to it. We are approaching the end, but next week you're playing in Japan, the last week of VNL. I won't ask you about specific names, but at least I understood from Toni Zetova some of or all of the experienced players will miss this week. Is that true, or there will be? Of course, I'm not asking because you of course you can't say it out loud, but
yes.
Is it that way that some players will rest?
Yes, we have something that we know already before, so that's why we try to do our best in the first 2 weeks, because it's something that we already know before.
Okay.
We try to do our best, but it's not so easy because we're missing some numbers of players.
Okay, and my last, this is not exactly a question, more of a tradition in the podcast, recommendation for next guest. My idea is that you can cover 3 points. First point is a person who I can interview in English or Bulgarian, but yeah, probably in this case more of an English. My Italian is not enough to do a podcast. Unfortunately, I understand some things, but not many. Second, of course, that you can help assist in inviting this person to be a guest in the podcast. And yeah, that's actually two points. So if you have something in mind, of course you're able to tell me later if you don't have anything in mind now.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question because I don't listen very well.
It's a recommendation for a next guest in the podcast. So I should be the conversation should be in English or Bulgarian, and the other requirement, let's say it in this way, is that you can help with inviting.
I don't know Bulgarian, so in English.
Yeah. No, I mean probably some volleyball person that will surround you in some moment of time, but you can think about it and tell me later. This is not a problem.
Okay.
And of course, again, I would like to thank you for being in the podcast, and
thank you too.
Yes, see you soon. And I would like to thank also to all the listeners and viewers of the podcast, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.